Okay, so I've been seeing this trend going around on social media and I think it's super fun, so I'm going to give it a shot. So basically what you do is you read for the amount of time that you would have usually spent on your phone. Also, yes, my kids are currently watching The Grinch in April. I'm pretty sure that my 3-year-old son broke or fractured his hand in some way. So I went on my phone to look at how much screen time I spent on it last Monday, and I am now going to challenge myself to read that same amount of time today. So I need to read, I think it was about 3 hours. Also, as a mom, I am not going to be just sitting here reading like that amount of time in one single stretch. It's going to be like kind of a pop in here and there. As for books, I am currently reading Blessed Are the Spiraling by Levi Lesko, and I am loving it. It's so great just for the season that I'm in right now. I am probably about halfway, so we will see if I'm able to finish this book today. So let's get started.
Well, that's not very nice.
All right, we're on day 2. So yesterday did not go how I expected at all. It's proof of mom life. Like the people, or at least the gal that I watched that did this, like I'm pretty sure reading is her job. Like she's an influencer and reads to work. So she has like different amounts of time than I do. As a mom of 5, like that just is not the case. And on top of that, I had to take my son to the doctor because he may have broken his arm. So I didn't get as much time as I wanted to. My goal was to read 3 hours because that was the screen time that I used last Monday. I read my paperback book, but then I also squeezed in an audiobook, and I do count audiobooks as reading. So I read my paperback book for 1 hour and 3 minutes, and then I listened to the audiobook for 28 minutes. So that came out to be 1 hour and 31 minutes of me reading yesterday. That was 42 pages with my book, 5% into the audiobook. Yes, my week changes week to week. Like last Monday, was different than yesterday, but we squeeze in all these moments to be on our phones, and like what if I replace that with reading? Today, Tuesday, I was on my phone for 2.5 hours last Tuesday. So that's my goal today, is to read for 2.5 hours. I woke up extra early this morning and I did my Bible study and I got some work on my phone done. So this morning I've already logged 24 minutes. I'm already pumped because we're off to a great start. But like I said, we'll see, because I've got stuff I got to do today. So again, 2.5 hours is the goal, and we'll see how close we get to it. Okay, good morning. It is day 3. Yesterday I was supposed to read, I think it was like 2.5 hours, and I ended up reading 1 hour and 31 minutes, which is funny because that is to the minute, like exactly what I read on Monday. And then I pretty much read the same amount of pages. So I read 45 pages from my book, and then I'm listening to an audiobook, and I got about 16 minutes in on the audiobook. Monday and yesterday, I ended up having to take my son to multiple doctors because he fractured his pinky. So we had to like go to the doctor, and then we had to go get x-rays. And so like my time was just used differently than it was last week. Having the challenge, it's like, instead of picking up my phone, like I will pick up my book. And I think that's really cool. Just like how it's working in my brain. So anyway, that was what happened yesterday. I am so close to finishing this book. I am on the last chapter, and so I am definitely going to finish that today. Today I'm actually going to my sister-in-law's house, and I'm going to spend the day there. She has 2 kids, and then I've got my kids, and so like along with hanging out and everything, like she loves reading too, and so I'm secretly hoping, not secretly, I am openly hoping that I can get some reading in there. I am technically supposed to read 4 hours today, which is not going to happen. I can tell you right now, that is not going to happen. I don't even know how I spent that much time on my phone last Wednesday. I'll have to look at my calendar and see what the heck I was doing, because I don't understand how I got 4 hours of phone time. That just makes no sense. So, but I can tell you right now that 4 hours is not happening with reading today. So my goal is to finish this book, because I'm so stinking close. So the book I plan on starting, I picked it up from the library yesterday, and so that's why I'm like, okay, like let's read this. So it's another nonfiction, which I try to alternate between like nonfiction and fiction. I just have noticed that that's been like really good for my brain is to like read a story, detox from the story, and by detox I mean like, you know, because you get so emotionally attached to the characters, and then to start a new story in a new world with new people, it's just, I don't know, I feel like my brain just kind of needs the nonfiction like buffer, I guess. So I wanted to read another nonfiction or another fiction book since I'm finishing my nonfiction, but like I said, this one came from the library and it looks like a pretty easy read. So it's called Remaining You While Raising Them, and this has been on my TBR for a little bit, so I'm pretty excited, but it looks like it's gonna be a pretty quick read, so I use the word quick loosely. So this is what I plan on starting today. So the goal is to finish this and to start this. I think I can do it. But that's the goal. We'll see how we do. All right, we're on day 4 of this little reading challenge that I'm doing. So yesterday I was supposed to read 4 hours, which I knew from the get-go was not going to happen because of just the plans I had for the day. But astonishingly, I was able to read 2 hours and 24 minutes. Like I'm shocked, to be honest. So I ended up finishing my book, which was my goal. Great book, highly recommend it. A mix of like what I was expecting and I wasn't expecting, I guess. Okay, so the book that I am currently reading that I started yesterday is Remaining You While Raising Them. This also surprised me. This is not what I was expecting it to be. It's much more biblical than I expected. I don't know what I thought it was going to be. I definitely thought it was going to be secular, I guess, but the fact that it's like biblical, it's got scripture, it's got discussion questions, but it's really cute because she talks about it like these can be discussion questions for a group, or they can be like journal questions, which I think is so cool to just encourage that like self-reflection and whatever. But this is an amazing read. I'm actually reading it very quickly. So today the goal is 3 hours. I spent 2 hours and 59 minutes on my phone last Thursday, so I'm just rounding up what's an extra minute. So 3 hours is the goal today. I'm looking forward to reading more of this book because like I said, it's really good and just not what I was expecting. So I think I'm going to make myself a coffee and get reading. Alright, so today is technically Saturday. I tried several times to set up my camera and do this. We're gonna talk about Thursday real quick. So I'm supposed to read 2 hours and 59 minutes. I ended up reading for 3 hours and 11 minutes. I finished my book that I had started on Wednesday. So 24 hours for me to read this book. And I read 190 pages in 3 hours. So that was pretty cool. Yesterday, Friday, my goal was to read 2 hours and 23 minutes. I ended up reading for 58 minutes because like I said, it was a different kind of day yesterday. And I read a total of 39 pages. So, was not my best. But I started reading Anne of Avonlea. My friend gave this to me for a birthday gift. I read Anne of Green Gables last fall and I loved it. And I was missing my friend Anne. So, this is how far I've made it. This is how far I need to go. So today I'm getting some alone time, hence why I'm in my car. I'm getting some alone time out of the house. I'm at our local small town coffee shop and I'm gonna get myself a latte and I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna read for a bit. All right, so I'm at my computer. I'm gonna start editing this video. I'm really excited to see the results and just how this went throughout the week, I guess. I think this is a really fun challenge. It was different than anything I've done before, so that always makes it fun and exciting. I don't think that I spend that much time on my phone because when I think about like, oh, I spent 2.5 hours on my phone, like that doesn't feel like a lot. But then when I had to transfer that amount of time into doing something else, like reading, that's when I noticed, oh, okay. So I have been slightly convicted. I mean, the fact that I got through 2.5 books is kind of a big deal. I am excited to do this again sometime. I think it was really fun. Thanks for coming along with me, you guys. And I hope that it inspired or encouraged you to maybe swap out your screen time for reading a book instead.